Heuertz. My name is Sadie Heuertz, and I am a Recruitment and Admissions Specialist with Des Moines University. So thank you for inviting me to share a little bit more about the 10 graduate programs in health sciences that we represent. I'll share a little bit about the application process, a little bit of information on who we consider to be a competitive applicant, and then wrap up by sharing about some upcoming events that we have. So we do opt for 10 graduate degrees in medicine and health sciences. Our medical degrees are osteopathic medicine and podiatric medicine. We have doctorates in physical therapy and occupational therapy. And then we also have a PhD in biomedical sciences. Additionally, we have master's programs in physician assistant studies, biomedical sciences, anatomy, public health, and healthcare administration. So this screen is very valuable when you are trying to determine where you fit into the mix of our applicant pool. One of the common questions we get is, how do I know if I will be a competitive applicant? We provide the average metrics of our most recent class to matriculate, as well as sharing a little bit of additional data about that applicant pool, class size, and the number of applications received. So you can generally see where you will fit in the mix. So these averages are not meant to be seen as a cutoff. Rather, our admission committees view them as a tool to see where we want to generally think of a competitive applicant in our next class. We review a range of GPAs. We review a range of standardized test scores where that applies. And we view your GPA in several different ways so that we can evaluate you as holistically as possible. So things like upward trends are going to definitely impact your competitiveness in a positive way. For osteopathic medicine, for example, you'll see that our class size is 225. We receive about 4,000 applications annually. Overall GPAs, the average is a 3.66 and science GPA is a 3.59. And our average MCAT last year was a 507. Our students perform really well academically before they're accepted at Des Moines University. They also perform really well after they're accepted into our programs. So for our students that take a licensure exam rate, this would be our DO, our DPM, our DPT, and our PA students, we have above national averages for the licensure exams. We will have scores for our OTD students as well once they get to that point of taking licensure exams. And for our students that go into a residency program, so osteopathic medicine and podiatric medicine, we have a nearly 100% match rate for those programs going into a residency. So it's really exciting for them to be leaders in the educational field that they're in and being competitive in those areas going on. And we're really proud of them. So our holistic review process, as I mentioned, allows us to consider you beyond just those straight metrics of your GPA and your standardized test score. So we are also looking at things like your exposure to the profession through shadowing, your external activities. So if you've been involved in leadership opportunities, if you've had service or gotten a chance to do any sort of community outreach. And we use your personal statement and your letters of reference to get an entire picture of who you are as an applicant. We want to make sure that we are admitting not only excellent students, but those who have values that align with the same values that Des Moines University holds. So accountability, collaboration, honesty, inclusiveness, and wellness. And we also take a look to see if we think you're a good fit for our university mission as well. So your whole application is going to factor into our decision to invite you for an interview and then ultimately extend that offer for you to be a student in our program. Rolling admission is a term that you might hear when you get ready to enter into the application process. What this means is that we begin reviewing applicants as soon as they are verified through the centralized application service. We don't wait for a certain date in the application cycle or collect all of the applications and then go through them at one time. We pace ourselves throughout the cycle. reviewing candidates, inviting them to interview, and as interviews are conducted, we make decisions about filling our class. So, in some cases, it can benefit you to apply early in the cycle to give yourself the best opportunity to enter into that rolling admission process. For each centralized application service, they have a dedicated start date. They almost every month of the year, one of our applications seems to be opening up. So, starting with our PA program in April, DO, DO program in May, PT program in June, occupational therapy in July, then our podiatry program in August. Some of our programs have flexible enrollment and can start in a fall or a spring term, so our MHA and MPH program. And then for our biomedical sciences and anatomy program, they enroll for a fall term, but the application cycle is usually a little bit later into the summer. So they open in September, and we usually start to get rolling with applications in that late spring window of time. For our PhD program in biomedical sciences and our MHA program, we do have the option to apply through a direct application to Des Moines University, so bypassing the centralized application service. And that gives a couple of benefits, mostly just in terms of the time it takes for your application materials to get to us. If you apply through a centralized application service, you're going to submit all of your application materials there. So this includes the application itself, your letters of reference, your personal statement, all of your experiences, your transcripts, your coursework, and then if there's a standardized test required, you'll also submit it there as well. So, kind of a general overview of what the timeline looks like after you hit submit on your application. You will receive one of three pre-interview decisions. So you might be invited to interview, in which case you'll get notified of what the next steps look like. You could be rejected before interview, meaning that we're no longer considering your application, or you could be placed into a pre-interview hold. This means our admission committee wants to continue evaluating your application, and they haven't yet decided which direction they want to go. So they're going to retain your application and continue to evaluate you alongside the general applicant pool. If you're invited to participate in our interview process, we use a virtual interview comprised of completing an assessment on the platform Kira Talent. Kira Talent is a nationally recognized interviewing software. And then we also invite you to join us on Zoom in a group setting for an informational session, most commonly with faculty and current students, to give you an overview of our program and a chance to ask us questions. We feel that the interview process is a two-way street, and so having both components gives us the opportunity to both learn more about you and then have you learn more about us. Once you've completed the interview process, you'll then be evaluated by the admission committee. You might be offered an acceptance, in which case we'll notify you of next steps and how to proceed. You may possibly be placed on an alternate list, and this means that we don't currently have a seat available, but that should a vacancy arise, you'll be evaluated and considered for that seat once interviews are concluded. And it's also possible you may be released from consideration after the interview process is completed. We welcome you to reach out to us for feedback on ways to improve for a future cycle if that were to happen. So a brief overview of Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, because I think this can sometimes be a program of high interest. So doctors of osteopathic medicine are holistic practitioners. The philosophy of medicine for DOs is that they believe when the body is in better alignment, that's more conducive to health. So they're going to look at ways to treat you that are going to not only incorporate medicine, but they're also going to use their manual therapy, OMM, and then they might incorporate lifestyle or other holistic approaches to treating you as well. Our program is a 4-year program. You have intensive osteopathic manual medicine, or OMM, in years 1 and 2. And then there's a wide selection of electives available. And I'll touch on those briefly on another slide as well. Our students also have opportunities to complete international rotations, as well as gain exposure to the global health community through our Department of Global Health. So when you're looking at the entire education for our DOs, their curriculum focuses on didactic education or classroom learning in years 1 and 2. The years are kind of broken down into your basic sciences in year 1, and then moving on more towards systems of the body in year 2. And you also get a chance to practice what you're learning in the classroom environment through simulation experiences that include experiences with standardized patients or actors, as well as our mannequins that allow you to experience a broad variety of patient care encounters. So, when you think about the types of cases that you could set up using a computer system and a mannequin, it's almost unlimited. So, you get a chance to really practice your skills both as an individual and in a team setting through our simulated patient experiences. On our new campus, which I'll touch on briefly as well and show you that a little bit, our classrooms are set up to be both lecture style, where you might have a presenter in front of you, or divided into small group settings. And they're really conducive to either a in-person or a hybrid learning environment where some students might be on Zoom. So focusing on that student experience to make sure that you're getting the best knowledge from that lecture format. Third and fourth years, you'll move on to your rotations. You'll have clinical training in a variety of different settings. Some are prescriptive, and so everyone will complete those same rotations, and some allow you to choose an elective setting. So if you already have an idea of the specialty you want to match to in residency, you can focus some extra time on those rotation settings. All right, so at Des Moines University, some of the things that we feel make our program stand out, block schedules for our DOs and our DPM students. That means that every 2 weeks you get an exam that covers the material you've learned up to that point. You have a midterm, which is summative of the semester, and you have a final, which is also summative of the entire semester. They additionally build in what they refer to as a week of remediation after the midterm and the final. This really protects you as a student. If you have performed well in the entire semester, so either at that midterm point or up to the final, and have passed all of your exams, you get a break for a week, which is really wonderful to think of in the medical school environment. But if you need any additional assistance, you need to retest on something, they build in that week so that you are not going to fall behind your peers. So during that week of remediation, you're going to get the opportunity to be reassessed on anything that you haven't passed yet. And if you are able to pass that and move on with the class, then nothing is adjusted in terms of your timeline towards graduation. Case-based learning is a really important part of the educational path for our students. And so in both formal and informal settings, you will get a chance to evaluate a clinical case. Many times it's from the history, professional history of one of your faculty members. Evaluate that as though you are the resident doctor or you're the doctor on staff for that case, and think critically through the steps needed to assess the diagnosis and the treatment for that case. Preclinical experiences that I touched on briefly already through our simulation center, our standardized patient lab. We also have a surgical skills lab where our students get a chance to practice suturing, laparoscopic techniques, inserting catheters, chest tubes, kind of all of those different necessary skills that are going to help you be well prepared in your rotations. Our DO students can dual degree in all 4 of the master's programs, as well as our PhD in biomedical sciences. So depending on where you see your career going as a healthcare provider, we likely have a dual degree opportunity that's going to augment that and make you more competitive during the residency match process. Some of our most popular electives are ultrasound and then medical Spanish. And medical Spanish has 2 levels, 1 and 2. And in many cases, our students who are highly interested in an international rotation will take the medical Spanish course and then move on to that international rotation setting as well. Research is also available for our students. So our biomedical sciences master and PhD are both research-focused degrees. But if you're not ready to commit to a full dual degree program, we do have opportunities for you as well. So you can do a research elective, which would be 1 semester hour of research. We also have a summer internship that would fit between years 1 and 2 for anyone in the DO program, called the Mentored Student Research Program. And both the research elective and the Mentored Student Research Program will pair you with our current students, or pardon me, our current faculty members as the principal investigator, and give you a chance to work in their lab environment, practicing those necessary skills. One of the things that I like to say is that as a future healthcare provider, you will likely rely on the research that is conducted by other professionals. Getting a chance to experience that yourself in graduate school is going to be really valuable towards understanding how research is conducted and how the results are disseminated. So even if you don't see yourself going into research in the future, I think it's really valuable to get exposure to that. And we have lots of opportunities. So for the majority of our students, as we're reviewing your application, we see that you are highly involved, whether that's through club leadership, whether that is through student athletics, um, community outreach, other types of leadership, even Greek life, things like that. And so we want to make sure that you have opportunities to be involved as a student at DMU and continue expressing those things that you're passionate about. So you can be involved on our campus. We have a Department of Multicultural Affairs and then our Department of Global Health. They both regularly have events that allow our students to participate in learning about both people who might come from different backgrounds than you, or learning about populations that have experienced barriers towards accessing healthcare, with a goal primarily of allowing you to learn how you as a future healthcare professional can alleviate some of those barriers. We have over 50 student clubs, and there are opportunities to be involved just as a participant, as well as leadership opportunities. And then through our Student Government Association, you can be elected as an officer to serve with your, as the voice and representative of your class, and meet regularly with the president and the executive leadership team and help determine how Des Moines University will be run in the future. We also do a lot of community outreach at Des Moines University. Some of our regular opportunities are the GEMS and BROS events. GEMS stands for Girls Exploring Medicine and Science, and BROS is Boys Reaching for Opportunities in Science. These are area fifth graders learning about careers in STEM. I think the photograph you can see in the top right with the orange t-shirts, those are some of our GEMS participants. We offer a senior health fair to residents in the local area that are 55 and older, and partner with services who can provide screenings for them or access to services that they might not seek out on their own, but that can be really beneficial for them. Back to school physicals for area elementary school kids. Again, this is a necessary service for them to get ready to go back to school in the fall, and Des Moines University can offer that to them at no cost. And if they sign up in advance, I think they also send them home with a backpack of school supplies. And then there's a variety of other types of community events. Some really common ones for our DO students include going to the finish line of the local marathon and providing treatments. We also usually serve a day at the Iowa State Fair, which is an experience, and do first aid or do screenings and other types of health checks there. Some of our most important support services. So especially knowing that I'm talking to an audience that perhaps is going to be relocating far away from family or other really important support, coming to Iowa, we want to make sure that you know that we are here to support you as a student. So first and foremost, academically, through our Center for Educational Enhancement, you're going to find peer tutoring resources, and then exam preparation and boards preparation. So kind of everything that you need to be a successful student is going to come from the Center for Educational Enhancement. We also offer a student counseling center. Their services are free and unlimited, and you can have a variety of different types of access there, whether you have a topical concern and just need a few sessions, or you want to schedule regular appointments with a therapist. They even offer medication management support for anyone who needs that. Our student life department provides events on and off campus. We know that the more connected that you feel to our student body and our campus generally, the better time you will have as a student. So they will provide tickets for you to see sporting events in town. They'll organize on campus and off campus excursions, and maybe just have a morning of an exam. They'll send coffee to everyone. So they try to do those little touches to make sure that you feel that you're having a good time, getting to know your peers, and getting out to experience the city of Des Moines. They also facilitate all of our student clubs and our student government association. And then finally, we have academic advisors. This is a faculty member who is your direct connection. You can go to them with any concerns. You are assigned a big sibling who is a second year student in your program to help you make that transition into graduate school. We have financial aid counseling available before you enter the program, all the way through the program, and then you'll also complete exit counseling with them when you're ready to depart. And we have a really great wellness center. So you can get your workouts in, you can do nutrition counseling, you can hire a personal trainer, or just use the facilities on your own. Something that is new for us at our new campus is that we have a therapy pool now. We never had a pool before. So now we have access to that. And the main benefit that I have found from the addition of the therapy pool is that right now, when we are in kind of the middle of the cold winter season, the room where the pool is like 85 degrees and humid. And that is, I feel like you don't always go seeking out humidity, but when everything around you is just very dry and very cold, it was very pleasant to be in that space. All right, so upcoming events. If you want to connect with Des Moines University, we do have some virtual events coming up. So DMU Prep Virtual is one of our ongoing prospective student events. Our next opportunity will technically be in February, but the February event has filled. So after that, it will be March 6th. It will begin at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 a.m. Central time, and we do a deep dive into an application and walk you through all the different components that we look for competitiveness. It's a really great opportunity to have a deep understanding of the holistic review process, and is especially targeted at anyone who is getting ready to submit an application in a future cycle. If you're already active in the application cycle, we have other opportunities that are better suited for you, but this one is for anyone who's looking ahead to a future cycle. We also have a foot and ankle surgery case study coming up on February 13th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Central time. This is an event specifically focused at the podiatry program. All podiatric medicine students are trained in surgery and complete a medical and a surgical rotation. So we highlight the surgical part of their education and share a case study with one of our faculty members. So great opportunity if you're interested in surgery, are curious about the DPM profession, join us on Zoom for that. You can find registration information and look ahead to more opportunities at our website. It's listed there on the screen, but it's just www.dmu.edu/admissions/events. All right, and then that's me. And I can also put my email into the chat, but I would love to connect with you. If you send me an email, I can provide a link for you to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me. I'm happy to do one-on-one phone appointments to talk through your application materials, or just generally if you have questions about how to be a competitive applicant. And then the only other thing I wanted to show, I think you should still be able to see my screen. Is that correct? Perfect. So this is our virtual campus map. So while we are in the process of getting established at our new campus location, we will be getting a video campus tour soon, but for now, this is what we have. This lets you navigate through all of the buildings. So our health and well-being building, this is where our gym is located. We have a student health clinic, so urgent care, but just for Des Moines University students, and they take our student health insurance. You can see we have the gym with pickleball and basketball. There's a workout section up here, and then there is another lifting area at the bottom. And then We have two classrooms. One is dedicated just for spinning, and then one is for other types of workouts. So bar, Pilates, TRX, general strength and toning. I don't believe they have a picture of the pool. Our innovation building is where the majority of our classrooms and labs are located. So we have 4 clinical medicine labs where our DO students will learn their OMM. We have our simulation center on the 3rd floor, and then our anatomy lab on the 4th floor, as well as all the research labs. And our cafeteria, Summerfields, is located on the 1st floor. So this is a great hub of student activity. And then our Edge of Advancement building, we have 2 larger learning studios, which would be comparable to a lecture hall that can fit around 300 people. This is one of the smaller ones that can, I think, hold like around 100. You can see there's lots of good visibility to the screens. Everything is equipped to run a Zoom, so microphones embedded into the ceiling, speakers embedded into the walls, lots of whiteboard spaces. We have some outdoor seating areas, which is really fun for when the weather is nicer, and then lots of spaces indoor for students to spread out. This is one of our multicultural affairs events. They hired some people to teach us how to salsa dance for Hispanic Heritage Month, Latino Heritage Month. I'm forgetting what it's precisely called. And all of our buildings are connected at the 2nd floor. So you can walk across this long hallway and then this one here and get between all of the buildings. And then our Edge of Advancement building and Innovation building are also connected on floor 4. And that is, I think, everything I have for you. Feel like I have, there we go. I will stop sharing now. Are there any questions I can address?
This was great, Sadie. Thank you. I actually do have one. It's specific to the Master's in Anatomy program. I'm not familiar with that program, and it seems rather interesting. So can you just share a little bit about who might choose that, or what is the outcome for a graduate that pursues that program?
Yeah, definitely. So, our Master of Science in Anatomy program is an in depth look at the gross anatomy. So, if you think about the coursework that a 1st year medical student would take in gross anatomy, they're in gross anatomy fall and spring semester. Our MSA students take that same content and then they have additional anatomy coursework as well. I think they get into some more specific content or specific classes on different parts of the body and do like a deeper dive into that content. It is also a teaching focused degree. So our MSA students become the TAs for our other clinical students taking anatomy. So they graduate with some teaching credits under their belt, which is really exciting for them. The person who is looking at the Master of Science in Anatomy program might have their eyes set on a professional program after that. So, thinking of someone who wants to increase their competitiveness as an applicant, um, both for medical school and then looking ahead to that future residency match process, the MSA program is going to give you a really solid foundation in anatomy, which is obviously the foundation of a lot of the things that you learn as a medical student. So you're really well prepared coming into the medical school environment after completing the 2-year master's program. But we also have a population of students that are interested in the MSA program as their terminal degree. And this might be appropriate for someone who wants to go on to teach at a community college level or even a high school level and teach that anatomy class. We also see some of our students going on to work in pathology labs or other types of professions where having a strong background in anatomy is a requirement. It really just depends on the needs of the student. I think we see a higher proportion of our students seeking the MSA degree to prepare for that future professional degree path, but it is designed to be a terminal degree for anyone who's looking for that. From our perspective in the admissions office, we consider our MSA students to be in a category that we call pathway students. So they're already known to us as DMU students. And so we like to see them progress on to complete either education in our DO, our DPM, or our PA program would probably be the most natural routes forward.
Very good. Thank you. That's helpful.
You're welcome. And then as the dual degree opportunity, so we do have some students who complete MSA and DO or DPM concurrently. The population I see interested in that are people who want to be a clinician as well as an educator. So they might see themselves completing their residency, working in a clinical environment for a period of time, and then returning back to academia to teach. And so, because the MSA program is a teaching focused degree, it not only benefits them in their education in the DO program with that additional content in anatomy, but it also gives them that um, exposure to teaching, the graduate teaching credits, and then they're well prepared if they want to advance into a teaching position at some point in the future. All right. Any other questions I can address?
Thank you. It's always
Yeah,
good to hear about other options. We know a lot of students are interested in going to school in California, but at the same time, a lot of students are also interested in options that are viable options to allow them to pursue their studies. So thank you for spending time with us, and we will make sure that students have access to this video and your contact information.
wonderful. Thank you so much. I will say that California is one of the top 5 states that we recruit from. So if any of your students come to DMU, they will not be alone. They will have lots of friends. We have several UCR alum that are attending. Well, we have at least one that's a first year student, and I think we had a couple more that were maybe in their rotation years. So we are familiar with your institution, love to have your students consider us, and definitely think of us as an option if you're interested in DO. I will send you, after we wrap up tonight, I'll send you an email that has both my meeting scheduling link as well as the email of our student who is the current student. And he said he'd be willing to have people email him if they have questions. So looking forward to connecting more in the future.